Welcome to this news hour on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. My name is Babla Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television, mining becomes a death trap in the east region of the Republic of Cameroon. Findings indicate that for the past 10 years, close to 100 persons, including children, have died in mining sites in the east region of the country. We'll bring to you details in this newscast, and in other news in this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television, we'll talk about the Garbu massacre case that has been adjourned to the 21st of January 2020. This was at the military court today in Yaoundé. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. After weeks without electric energy supply, it took an injunction from the divisional officer of Mbanga in the Mongo Division littoral region of the country for electricity to be restored in several neighborhoods of that part of the Mongo Division in the littoral region of the country. And the people took to the streets protesting against inadequate electric energy supply yesterday and brought the divisional officer to the scene, who gave an injunction, and following that injunction, electricity has been restored in quarter 1, 2 and 3 of Mbanga in the Mongo divisions. Manjikan Gabriel has more.
It was an unusual gathering that was witnessed at the premises of the company in charge of producing and distributing electricity energy in Banga, Mongo Division. The inhabitants of quarter 1, 2 and 3 were crying out they have been in darkness for several weeks because of what they call a simple fault that could have been corrected by the workers of the company distributing electricity energy. It is from the proceeds that I make in grinding that I put food on my table, and without electricity energy, it's difficult for me. Everything in my refrigerator is bad. It is the cold water that I sell that enable me to send my kids to school. Getting the information about the gathering in front of the energy supply company, the divisional officer of Mbanga, Vo Armstrong, descended to the scene to calm down tempers. After a chat with the divisional manager of the company in charge of producing and supplying electricity energy, he reassured the population. The head of the technical department, with whom I just talked with on phone, has promised to reinstate energy, so you people should go home and wait. The divisional officer and the divisional manager of the energy supply company both agreed that by midday Wednesday things will be settled, without which the divisional officer will personally handle the file. Few minutes after dispersing the population, workers of the company were spotted arranging the cable that caused the blackout to these 3 neighborhoods, respecting the deadline given by the divisional officer of Banga, Vo Armstrong.
After the injunction of the divisional officer of Mbanga in the Mongo Division littoral region of the country, Vo Armstrong, electricity has been restored. And in the center region, in a similar situation, following the reports of Equinoxe Television on the bad state of the road linking the nation's political capital, Yaoundé and Gomezap, the road has finally been tarred. We reported some years back the bad state state of that road, and which provoked some kind of hatred from some supporters of the regime against Equinoxe Television. And now reports have yielded some fruits. The road that was in a very deplorable state is now a tarred highway where vehicles are circulating with little or no difficulties. Details with Innocent.
Swift circulation on the Yaoundé-Ngomedjab Highway through Bankomo, Ngumu, Olama, and others. It all began with a denunciation by Equinoxe Television some times back when the stretch of roads brought nightmare to its users. I followed the reports on Equinoxe Television. It was debated upon. We are happy the seasonal roads has today been transformed like this thanks to Equinoxe Television. At the time of denunciation, fans of the regime baptized Equinoxe Television with all sorts of evil appellations. But today, this is fruit of the denunciation, beneficial to all. But if users of the close to 100-kilometer roads separating Yaoundé from Ngomedjab can now enjoy flexible circulation, it is not the case with those who wish curving Ngomedjab through Mbarmayo and Mengeme. Contractors still have a lot to do.
L'état de la route de Mengeme est encore très trop accidenté. L'état de la route. Il manque seulement les routes de quartier là. Ce n'est vraiment pas facile.
State of this road is very deplorable. We can't circulate in the quarters. Just the quarter roads are problematic. The main roads are okay.
Le reste, ça va.
Locals of Ngomedjab in the Nyong Eso division of the Central region, however, express a sigh of relief and are confident development will move into the quarters in the days ahead.
As a result of failure to respect the mining code by mining companies, mining has become a death trap in the east region of the Republic of Cameroon. Close to 100 persons have died in abandoned mining sites in the east region of the country within the past 10 years. Some of the victims were children. Innocent has more.
Lamentation of a parent who is yet to accept the death of his 12-year-old son, Susten Samba, who on the 13th of September 2017 fell and drowned into an abandoned gold mine in Kambele, a neighborhood in Battery subdivision, East Region. He left the house at 10 a.m. that fateful day. He went on playing as usual with his friends. We began searching for him when we could not spot him anywhere. He was discovered 2 days after in the abandoned gold mine, stuck in the mud that reached his waist and water covering him. I budgeted 160,000 francs CFA for divers to get him out, but they denied they cannot dive for the task. Other rescuers came and told me to add the money, but I complied because I needed my son's corpse. 3 years after the incident, for undertaking suicidal activities on the site, the latter was also convicted for manslaughter as regards death of the 12-year-old child. The company has been ordered to pay a fine of 500,000 francs CFA to the bereaved family, as well as damages set at 2 million francs CFA. It is thanks to assistance from a legal team that the poor family could seek justice in court. Our legal team got here thanks to reports by journalists. We will continue raising alarm for justice and mount government authorities' pressure such that measures that will oblige mining companies restore sites they have exploited are respected. Sadly, the condemnation would not bring back to life the 12-year-old Samba, whose death has implanted sorrow within the family. It should be recalled, several others were victims of the abandoned sites.
17. Il y a plus de 17 non fermés.
There are over 17 families in Kambele, Batori, who live near the mining site, with the pits as deep as 12 and 15 meters. It is terrible. How can such pits be abandoned in a village?
Vraiment, c'est plus de 12 mètres, 15 mètres. Mais comment on peut garder les choses comme ça, pareil, à côté d'une ville, à côté d'un village? Et les gens passent, ceux qui vont au champ.
The Greek mining company is subjected to Article 228 of the Cameroon Penal Code governing dangerous activities. This obliges mining companies to work on the earth of a blade.
La première disposition,
the first legal provision violated by the enterprise is the known restoration of the exploited site. Most of the companies exploit without legal documents, thus they operate illegally.
Exploite sans titre d'exploitation, et donc on peut aussi dire qu'ils travaillent de manière illégale.
Responsibility of the state that has to take appropriate measures to protect citizens by putting an end to dangerous activities, like in this case, invokes a question mark. So because the case of Sustained Samba has not changed anything, because same illegal and dangerous activities are still being carried out in the field. As we speak, same activities continue in Batori with no security measures, nothing at all. Even the pit in which my son died is still open. 3 years after, the activities continue in the watchful eyes and knowledge of authorities.
Les autorités connaissent, ils voient ça. Il y a un délégué département de mines là-bas, il y a un délégué régional de mines, ils sont là.
Contacted on phone, the director of mines and the Ministry of Industries refused making any comment without authorization from their boss. However, the incriminated company was suspended except for the fact that the state that could sue the enterprise for carrying out dangerous activities handled the matter lightly and with laxity, leaving many with the notion it operates in complicity with the company. An act that goes contrary to Articles 2 and 9 of the International Convention related to civil and political rights, obliging the government of Cameroon to defend the rights to live and the security of persons.
Au cours de cette semaine, nous avons eu l'information.
During this week, we got information 3 persons died in the East region, 2 in the Kete zone and 1 in the Dekarola zone. We wish that authorities take this seriously and call to order enterprises and compel them to cover the pits they have dug and abandoned.
De l'or et laisser que nos enfants meurent et nos bêtes meurent.
According to reliable findings, we are told about 90 children have lost their lives in the past 10 years in these abandoned mines in the localities of Bitare Eya, Gurua, and Batori in the East region. The legal team that helped Samba's parents seek justice encourages other victims of these dangerous activities to report to courts and claim their rights. In cases where it yields no fruit, it can as well be presented at the international level based on the International Convention related to the civil and political rights, as well as the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, signed and ratified by Cameroon.
The Garbu massacre case has been adjourned to the 21st of January 2021, not 2020 as earlier said. It has been adjourned and the hearing took place today at the military court in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, and the accused include Baba Gidam, Sanding Cyril, Haranga, Gilbert Tata for Maxwell alias Bullet, and unidentified members of a vigilante group. The aforementioned persons are all soldiers who were said to have been involved in the Garbu massacre of 14 February 2020 in the Donga-Mantum Division, Northwest Region of the Republic of Cameroon. The case was adjourned to the 21st of January 2021 for the various liable parties, including the Ministry of Defense, to be served with court summons to appear in court, for the list of witnesses to be submitted to the court and communicated to all parties and for the appearance of all accused persons, because only 3 of them were present in court today. All the 3 who were present today were soldiers. And coming up, our correspondent in the Southwest region brings to us updates in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country hit by socio-political and security tensions for more than 4 years today. And the Prime Minister was visiting in the Southwest regional chief town Boya on the heels of attacks and killing of traditional rulers, notably of the Fako division. Jeddah.
The town of Boya is at a standstill as they dreaded in the land of the Bakore people, both from the windward and the leeward side of the Boya mountain, stepped forward. Few days ago, one of their traditional rulers was killed.
His Majesty Chief Équinoxe Emmanuel was assassinated after abduction last Sunday by terrorists.
And the chiefs of Fako division are descending to the palace of late Chief Équinoxe of Mile 14 Dibanda in Boya subdivision for some rituals. And also partaking in the rite was Honorable Malumba Esembe, Member of Parliament for Boya Urban Constituency, who begged on the population to always seek but peaceful means in handling issues like this one.
We are beggars for peace. We are begging the populations of Boya to contribute at this time by participating actively with the administration and the forces of law and order, so that those among us who are spilling blood will be brought to book, and we shall all live in peace like we did in the past. I have the merciful hope that this demonstration will incline the hearts of the few who still carry hatred and perpetuate wickedness around. Thank you very much.
The next day, the Cameroon Prime Minister and head of government came to town and met with the Southwest chiefs concerning the death of Chief Équinoxe of Mile 14 Dibanda.
Your Royal Highnesses.
Chief Dr. Joseph John Gute, Cameroon Prime Minister and head of government, reiterated on the need for oneness in times like this.
The killing of the traditional ruler of Dibanda, Mile 14, calls for general mobilization against evil. However, we should do so as one person. We should do so without giving into the divisive tendency stating that criminals come from one or the other area.
Hearts are heavy as Fako division record the death of another traditional ruler in less than 2 months in identical circumstances.
For me to come now and only start talking about him dying is not good for me.
And as the Southwest chiefs converge on Fako division for condolences, the host president, Chief Ndike Richard, president of the Fako Chiefs Conference, thanked his peers and President Paul Biya for the condolence message sent through Cameroon Prime Minister and head of government.
We thank God for the concern of the head of state. We sent the Prime Minister to come and condole with the people of Fako for what just happened. We know we are in a situation of war. It can happen through this way or through that way. But I think that the message he brought for us, which is very, very important, is that we should be cautious of ourselves.
Though the pains are too much, but the Fako Chiefs leader called for courage.
We pray that the Almighty God and the ancestors give them the courage to forge ahead in life. You know that things like that can happen in life. And if incidents like that do happen in life, we give thanks to God, because it is said that whatever thing happens in life, God has a plan for it.
Chief Équinoxe was reported dead last Sunday, shortly after he was abducted by separatist fighters.
1 week to Christmas festivities, markets in the country's economic capital already flooded with gifts and toys for children. Parents have already begun shopping ahead of the Feast of Nativity, even though the Christmas fever is still very timid as a result of the fact that goods are quite expensive on the market. According to some persons that we interviewed today, goods are not very much affordable on the markets this Christmas season, and the traders are putting that or blaming that on the coronavirus pandemic that has gone a long way to destabilize business activities, not only in the country but across the globe. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
A variety of items ranging from toys, shoes, bags, dresses and other festive accessories displayed in the Loom Central Market, begging for buyers. Inhabitants recount a gloomy 2020 amid preparation for Christmas and New Year celebrations. Traders at the market lament over poor sales during this festive period. Business is really slow. I am unable to sell 1,000 francs a day. Last year by this time, I was able to sell all my spices. Look at the amount that is left in front of me. Since morning, I have not received any customer. Last year, same time, a lot of women flooded my saloon. 2020 is a failure. COVID-19 has just made life difficult. Housewives, on their part, lament over the rising price of commodities. For me, this Christmas celebration will be below standard. Everything needed to make Christmas fun is expensive. We are unable to eat meat in my house because it is expensive. A cup of rice, which used to be sold for 100 francs, is now sold for 300 francs. I came to the market with 3,000 francs, but I am unable to buy half of the items found on my list. Before, we used to buy 10 bananas for 100 francs. Now, 11 bananas are sold for 200 francs. Another setback faced by traders is a scarcity of coins. The lack of coins has made business be very slow. When customers buy items, we are unable to give them change. Last time we heard that those behind the scarcity of coins were caught, but nothing has changed. We need coins. Majority of them say they do not have the financial means to meet up with the demands of the festivities.
And despite the disruptions in socio-economic life provoked by the coronavirus pandemic, parents are still determined, some of them, to ensure that their children celebrate Christmas as they have been doing in previous years before the coronavirus outbreak, and some of them are rushing to the markets to get toys and gifts for their children in order to spice up their Christmas season. Details in this report by Kome Charles.
In a year plagued by the deadly COVID-19 virus, some parents are still eager to give their kids the best Christmas holidays. Even though the Christmas holiday spending is expected to be muted as the second wave of COVID-19 worsens, causing ongoing economic uncertainty and tighter travel and gathering restrictions. But toy traders say the lack of normalcy in 2020 may be a driver for toy sales because parents will want to do something to keep the Christmas holiday close to normal as possible. I have already found what I need to give my children, but the price is really high. We also know that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, prices of goods have been inflated. But we as parents must make our children happy, especially during the festive season.
With toy sales expected to get high, retailers have rolled out sales early to keep shopping safe and physically distanced so as to respect barrier measures. They have also released hot toy lists ahead of schedule and are encouraging parents to shop early so as to avoid disappointment. Retailers are also expecting that trend to be stable during the biggest gift season of the year. With all kids, events and school closing, parents have already started compensating their kids, making sure that they will be having fun or entertained during these Christmas holidays.
Cameroon is fighting to overturn the devastating effects of the irresponsible use of social media and information and communication technologies. The Minister of Post and Telecommunications, speaking at the University of Douala today, said that the country recorded at least 11 billion francs CFA losses in cyber crimes in 2018 and 2019. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
Faced by over 1,000 students of the University of Douala, Cameroon's Minister of Post and Telecommunication, Minette Libon Lilikeng, decried the ravaging effects of the social media and the usage of information and telecommunication technology gadgets. Damages that Minette Libon Lilikeng outlines in terms of statistics. The minister says Cameroon recorded more than 6 billion francs CFA financial losses linked to bank fraud in 2019, 20,050 email spams, resulting in about 5 billion francs CFA financial loss in the same year. More than 11,000 irregularities recorded on the website of public administrations in the same year, and more than 33,000 cases of identity theft in 2018. For the Minister of Post and Telecommunication, it takes more than mobilizing against cyber criminality, and school children, pupils, and students are some of the government's privileged target in the national campaign against the danger. They, according to Minette Libon Lilikeng, are the main target because they are the most connected on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter, and often without control. Through 7 ambassadors chosen, including artist Sanziviani, the public authorities want to mobilize the emotional fiber of personalities from various sectors to bring the message of the responsible use of ICTs to the young and old in Cameroon. Still, Cameroon is not yet sufficiently equipped to face hackers, scammers, and other types of criminals whose methods are becoming more and more sophisticated every day, which explains the current weapon of the government of Cameroon in sensitizing both companies, administrations, and civil society actors for a national coalition against cyber crimes, according to the Minister of Post and Telecommunication, Minette Libon Lilikeng.
In news out of Cameroon, the governor of Katsina State, northwest Nigeria, Aminu Bello Massaria, said the gunmen who kidnapped more than 300 school children last week may have got help from the Boko Haram terrorist group. His statement comes after the militant group said it was responsible for the abduction, but Governor Masiri repeated the authorities' view that the attack was carried out by suspected local bandits, and the governor also told the press that the security forces have made contacts with the kidnappers and have some idea of where they are. He said the authorities will not deal with Boko Haram, and neither will they agree to paying ransom. And still in Nigeria, the COVID-19 figures are rising speedily. Yesterday, the country confirmed 930 persons tested positive for coronavirus, and that is the highest number President Buhari's country has recorded in a single day. Positive tests from the commercial hub Lagos and the capital Abuja accounted for a lot of the new cases. Nigeria has so far confirmed a total of 75,062 persons tested positive for the coronavirus. The World Food Programme has warned that millions of Zimbabweans face hunger in the coming months due to the prolonged drought, economic instability, and the effects of COVID-19. In the country, Zimbabwe's government says at least 7.6 million people, that is about half of the country's population, have fallen into poverty this year. Government critics blame the economic crisis on poor policies. It has pushed inflation to its worst level in over a decade. The World Food Programme has launched an appeal for $204 million to help cover the costs of feeding 4 million people of the most vulnerable, 4 million of the most vulnerable people over the next 6 months. 3 years of drought and coronavirus restrictions have worsened hunger in the country. The World Food Programme representative in Zimbabwe, Francisca Derman, says half of Zimbabwe in the rural areas have been left with no alternative but to skip meals, reduce portion size, or sell off precious belongings in order to cope. And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Our guest today, joining us from Chang in the West region of the Republic of Cameroon, is an ICT expert. Wilson Geoffrey is the CEO of FaithWorks Tech and Afritech Academy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. Babina.
Right, in the one of the reports aired in this newscast, we're talking about the problem of cyber criminality, irresponsible use of social media and information and communication technologies, and the government indicates that billions of francs CFA have been lost in cyber crimes, irresponsible use of information and communication technologies. What's your analysis of all of these?
I will appreciate the effort made by the government now, even though coming a little late, but it's better to combat this issue because since the internet became so much in use by many people, the government has been very slow to, first of all, use the online means to better the country, but we are glad that they are coming in with this effort. And we know there's been a lot of irresponsible use, sharing of fake news, abuse, and a lot of negative things, scamming going on. But we hope the government will intensify efforts to fight this.
While the fight against cybercrime is going on, the issue seems to be growing in intensity as the years go by. Fake news is almost everywhere on social media today, and scamming is going on, many other issues happening on the internet today. Why is it that it's difficult to control, it's difficult to break the neck of this eel, so to speak?
I think the government and many other private companies need to intensify their efforts in getting the appropriate experts on board, because most of the time these cyber criminals are very expert. They have expert knowledge before they can crack into systems, all systems including those of banks, and it needs experts who are more advanced in knowledge and expertise than them to be able to tackle them. So private companies as well as the government should begin to seek to form bodies made up of highly skilled cyber experts who have higher level of knowledge to be able to combat this.
All right, now let's talk about the impact of the digital media in combating COVID-19, an asset or a liability?
I would say it has been mixed, both an asset and a liability, because we know since the breakout of the COVID-19 pandemic, it took the digital media, including TV, social media, and the rest of the internet, to be able to spread the information, see what was happening in other countries, and be able to respond. And you know, even when schools were shut down earlier, this year. You know, it was thanks to the TV media and the internet that some children, even though not most of them, were able to receive courses. But on the flip side of it, you see that there was a lot of panic that was created by the media, because fake news, like we earlier said, a lot of people were making others to panic, just saying things that do not exist, and misinformation caused a lot of people to panic. So that just, especially on social media. Yes, you know, everybody on social media now can write anything in just minutes and publish, which is a big of a problem. So we need to get in the system where information, reliable sources of information should become more available, so that we avoid this use of social media where everybody, and also people should also be checked. That is, fake news should be checked.
And on social media, it's going very fast and very speedily, and information, just a click, it is everywhere. And this irresponsible use of social media is beginning to cause some major problems, like hate speech that you were talking about. Most of the propagation, much of the propagation is on the social media. How should people avoid this? Normal social media users.
I think first of all, our government should get into kind of like partnerships with various social media companies, and be able to track some kind of keywords or some kind of information. When it is shared, the social media platform should be able to flag it, or give people the opportunity to mark this kind of information as being fake. And also, people should be sensitized, because sensitization is the main thing. People should be sensitized on using official sites, like news media sites, government sites, or reliable companies' sites to get information. Otherwise, I think this thing is going to keep going higher.
It's going to keep going higher, and the impact is quite significant, not only on COVID-19, but on life in the society in general, when we start talking about fake news and hate speech.
You know, hate speech has caused a lot of crisis. Fake news has caused a lot of damage, both economically, socially, politically, and in all means. So this issue should be tackled by both individuals and the government alike, and really treated as a matter of an emergency. Like I said, sensitization should take the stage to be able to curb this fake news and misinformation.
Sensitization. But many of the people who are using social media irresponsibly, some of them are aware of the laws existing. Some of them are aware of the danger of spreading fake news or false news and so on, but they still go on with this. So how to bring those kind of people to stop and use social media in a responsible manner?
Well, I believe any law that is in place put by the nation should be respected. And then this sensitization should sensitize people of each law. When you do this, these are the repercussions. Once it's proven that you have done this, this is the repercussion that you face. The law should be explained to the people in a simple language. And then that is when you will be able to hold people accountable. I mean, people who are guilty of this accountable. So I still go back to the point of sensitization by both the government, the media houses, and all others who have this opportunity or access to the people.
Right. And then when the people are sensitized and they still don't respect, sanctions should follow.
Well, I believe the law should be applied, because I believe the law is put in place by the nation, and when all other means have failed, the law should be respected.
The law should be respected. In your opinion, how should this sensitization be done? Door-to-door, seminars, workshops?
A combination of all those. And I would say media houses, including Equinoxe Television, just like you've been doing, should be more engaged, add more effort to this, because it's through this action, using all means available to sensitize people, we'll be able to get it. We have banners, we can put banners, and I'm very happy that the government put a commission of for cyber security made up of some experts, which was really a great thing. So this is just the start. We pray that more of such efforts should be put.
More of such efforts should be put in order to curb cybercrime. And talking about COVID-19 in particular, how should it be handled on social media by whosoever has information on COVID-19, communication on COVID-19? How should it be harnessed in such a way that it does not become more or less a problem to society instead of being a solution?
I want to talk to everyone who is listening to this. Please verify your information before you publish. Because once you forward anything that is not verified, you become the author. So the best way is to go to official sites, go to government sites or agencies that have been approved to get your information. Don't just take things from everywhere and begin to forward them. It will lead to misinformation. Getting information for reliable sources, reliable sites is the best means of being able to handle this.
All right, verifying information before forwarding, before sharing, before liking, and whatever. And,
exactly.
And this will help us to mitigate the impact of fake news and other ills on the social media, and of course ills related to the irresponsible use of information and communication technologies. Exactly. Wilson Geoffrey, ICT expert, CEO of FaithWorks Tech and Afritech Academy. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Babila.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today. Equinoxe, thanks.